Folks, drama bin drama, Arab drama, ole drama, zote pamoja. If I told you just 2 days ago that shortly we were going to see the following headline in our press: DP Ruto signals his support for BBI, what would have been your reaction? Please be honest. I think you would have had serious concerns about my mental health. Well, that is the headline now. And Kenyans are more confused than ever. What is going on here? How is it possible, even in 100 years, for the strongest critic of the BBI to wake up one morning and say something like this? Make indications that they will support the BBI. Now, to the best of my knowledge, the deputy president doesn't drink alcohol. Neither does he smoke. The bigger cigarette. The late Bob Marley's favorite. No, he doesn't partake of such stuff. Whatever you say about him, whatever you think about him, is a very sober man. And so we cannot ask him what he's smoking. No. We need to solve this mystery. What is really going on here? Now, you will remember in my video a few days ago, I emphasized that some certain events were linked. They had to be linked. Either choreographed or reactions. Every action has a reaction. So it was action, reaction, action, reaction. But bottom line, there was a link. Folks, in my view, I believe that is where the key to solving this mystery lies. But before we go any further, let's lay a very firm foundation to this analysis based on human nature. It is impossible to go wrong in any analysis when you stick firmly to human nature. And so, here's the foundation. Now, ordinarily, what makes a human change their minds? Either their views, their stand on something political, whatever it is. What changes a human under normal circumstances? The answer is simple. People change when the situation on the ground changes. And so as we continue with our analysis, we must keep looking all the time for what has changed. In the political lectures I received from my late political lecturer, he had 2 books he always used to emphasize on, again and again and again, until I got bored. Older members of this channel already know which those 2 books are. The first one was William Shakespeare's play, Julius Caesar. And the second was Mario Puzo's thriller of a novel, The Godfather. Now, it was easy to understand why Julius Caesar, the play, was important in understanding politics. But it took me a very long time to realize why Mario Puzo's bestseller, The Godfather, was also a political lesson. It took me a long time. And in the end, I figured it out. It all had to do with human nature. You cannot separate human nature from politics. And so, coming back to my point, what used to change people's minds in The Godfather? Now, I appreciate not all of us have read that great book. Yeah, so let me just summarize it in one sentence. What used to change people's minds in The Godfather was that an offer was made that they could not refuse. There's something else I should make clear. It was not in all cases where the Godfather approached the target with the offer. No. In some cases, somebody came to the Godfather seeking a favor. Yeah. And what the Godfather did is that he granted that favor on condition. Yeah. And therefore, he gave that person an offer they could not refuse also. Apart from the other one, which we all know, yeah, when somebody tells you, I'll give you an offer you cannot refuse, and links it to the Godfather, we all know that it's linked to violence, threats, waving of files, as we call them on this channel. Yeah, that is one type. But the one I've just mentioned is another, yeah, and I believe which is more relevant for our case on today's show. And so, in a nutshell, something definitely changed. And we suspect somebody was made an offer they could not refuse. So, let's find the clues, yeah, to back up our very wild allegations. Oh yes, I appreciate they're wild. Okay, let's look for the clues. Now, one very strange thing that happened is that the DCI, Bwana George Kinoti, who must be a very busy person, took his time, found the time to meet victims of the 2008 clashes. And he made certain promises to them. And his language in English was very clear. The government was going to reopen investigations into the 2008 clashes, tribal clashes. That was crystal clear. Now, strangely enough, a few hours later, there was a clarification. And the clarification was no, the government was not going to reopen concluded cases of 2008. No. Instead, the government was going to investigate cases that had not been concluded. And new cases, yeah, from new complaints filed with the DCI by certain individuals whose loved ones had been victims. So far, very strange, wouldn't you agree? But it was to get even stranger, because the next day, the president, in launching the BBI drive for signatures, condemned any move to open any investigations or to do any investigations to do with the 2008 tribal clashes. What? Now hold on a minute. Who does the DCI take the orders from? Is it possible for the DCI to embark on something so radical, something so sensitive, yeah, without any knowledge of the office of the president? With the internal security boys being in the dark? Is that possible? No. It can never happen. So what happened here? Hold on to that thought. We'll come back to it in a minute. Yeah, in our search for clues as to what changed at around that time. And of course, we have to mention the ICC. Yeah, because the ICC has got some link, in the past at least, to the deputy president. The other thing that happened at around that time was that the United Arab Emirates government of Dubai suspended temporarily issuing visas to some countries. 13 countries, I believe. Yeah, and Kenya was one of those countries. Which means, if you want to go to Dubai for Christmas holidays, and you hold a Kenyan passport, and you don't yet have a visa, because what they said is that existing visas can still be used, but they will not issue any new visas. So if you have a Kenyan passport, you'd better change your destination. It will not be possible to go to Dubai. But if you're a Tanzanian, there's no problem. If you're Ugandan, there's no problem. You are not affected by this visa ban by Dubai. And the reason given by Dubai was security concerns. Now, what does that even mean? Now, let us dive deeper in our search for answers. At around the same time, indeed a few hours ago, a letter emerged written by the central bank in Dubai to the central bank in Kenya. Now, the long and short of that letter was a complaint about money laundering activities, transfer of huge sums of money into Dubai. And that letter was very specific. Transfer of huge funds by government officials. What? Now, let's do a little speculation, informed speculation. If you had a problem of money laundering, one of the ways you would temporarily halt it while you sorted out things would be by issuing visa bans to affect the countries that are giving you this problem, right? That makes perfect sense. And the fact that this letter and the ban all happened at around the same time also tells us that there's a high possibility, extremely high, that the two moves are linked. There is a high possibility that the visa ban and the letter to the Central Bank of Kenya are linked in some way. Okay? Now again, just hold on to that thought. Let's move on in search of more clues. Before the deputy president left the country, he had a very lengthy meeting with the president at State House, Nairobi. What were they discussing? Now, in an earlier video, I told you that there's a high possibility that one of the things they were discussing were the developments at the ICC in recent times. Again, keep that clue close to you. We'll come back to it when we're putting it all together. Now, this next one is going to shock most of you. In Tanzania, we have somebody who calls himself Mwanaharakati Uhuru. That is an independent activist. His name is Cyprian Musiba, and is a firm supporter of President John Pombe Magufuli. Now, on many occasions, Bwana Musiba comes to a press conference carrying documents, and he reads word for word from those documents. Clearly, he is getting his information from somewhere. And a lot of the information he gives, some of them involving foreign governments, activities taking place in foreign countries, it is safe to assume there's only one place he gets all that information from. It should be rather obvious. He gets it from the country's intelligence community, the Usalama wa Taifa, or TIS. Bottom line, he is not an independent activist. He's an activist for the government. And therefore, he has government resources at his beck and call to assist him with his activities. Therefore, he's not independent. Now, over the last few days, I have realized, and I'm sure a few of you have, that we have for the first time gotten an activist on behalf of the government and on behalf of the handshake. And they're anonymous, but what they do is that they leak information, which they would not have gotten in any other way. Jijazie. Okay? Now, this particular activist has released a video. Regulars on this channel will remember I called that video fake. And the reason I did that was because it purported to come from a French news organization, which it did not. But it was very cleverly made to look as if it came from there. Now, if you're an activist, you're really spreading propaganda, which is supposed to help your candidate's image, whoever you're supporting, or your cause. And the most effective propaganda is usually the truth mixed with lies. And that video, which I called fake, had some truth mixed with some half-truths, mixed with some blatant lies. And the same independent activist has released a lot of other information, which at this stage is difficult to determine whether it's factual or not. But all this information has had only one person, and one person alone, as the main target. You've guessed it, the Deputy President. So, let's now attempt to put it all together. It would appear that the Deputy President is rapidly being cornered. That's the way it looks. From all those instances, all those examples I have given you of small telltale clues. And let's keep it very simple. What do you do when you're cornered? The answer is, you make a deal. But if you're a smart politician, after you make this deal, you make sure you make your moves in such a way that it will not point to a deal being made. And also, you try your best not to confuse your firm supporters. And therefore you create excuses for changing your mind. You create a strong narrative to support your sudden 180-degree turn. Now, the impact this has on the public who are not able to put it all together is that it causes total, utter confusion, which is exactly what we have in the country called Kenya at the moment, as far as the political scene is concerned, and as far as the Deputy President and BBI politics is concerned. But hold your horses. We need to carefully observe what is going to unfold next. And from what we will see, we will be able to confirm whether this analysis is correct or not. And you can be sure that the next few days are going to be super interesting. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.